want to check us out on all of our social media platforms, on Twitter at tinfoilhatcast, reddit.com/r/tinfoilhatshow,
On Instagram at tinfoilhatpod.
or allcomedyt-shirts.com.
Email us at tinfoilhatpod@gmail.com.
What's up, good looking? Yeah, man, that's what I am.
Welcome back to
Oh, it's a Honey Badger takeover. Welcome to the Tinfoil Hat Report. What's happening in the world today? Let's find out from Ryan and Sam. Sam and Ryan are the two men. You can find out what's going on. And now let's pass it over to Chief Nasty Ass, Sam Tripoli.
Honey Badger, don't give a fuck. Joining us is a good friend of mine. I've known him for a very long time. Randall the Honey Badger.
Hey!
Yes, dude. Randall and
Thank
I
you.
met through a mutual friend.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Who, last I heard, was doing lots of drugs and hardcore gay sex.
Yes.
Is he still?
Gotta pay the bills.
Gotta pay the bills.
Gotta pay the bills.
They call him in the hungry bottom.
Yes.
How's he doing?
He's still hungry and he's still the bottom.
He's still the bottom.
But listen, it pays the bills.
It pays
and
the bills.
these days, healthcare costs so much.
So
in order
much.
for him to take care of his family and everything, he's just the bottom, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do.
Gotta do.
gotta
Pay
pay
the
those
bills,
bills.
right? God, man,
Ah.
we miss Chris. We need to keep in touch with him and maybe do a
Yes.
couple little interventions. Because once you get that happy sauce, it's hard to get off
Oh,
it.
it really is.
It really
is. But he's been actually doing. I've been producing with him a lot of protest hip hop.
Nice. Protest hip hop?
So yeah, you can go to soundcloud.com/czg123. And he's we're the only one sampling Giuliani and Trump and all this crazy stuff, talking about how Mueller, he's the white knight.
Look that up.
He's the white knight we have, right?
Yeah,
Mueller.
Yeah.
But
The guy who lied about 9/11.
everyone forgets about, there are weapons of mass destruction. And he looks down as he says it.
What do I find in SoundCloud?
/CZG123.
Guys, as we're looking it up, it is an amazing time to be a conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
And no better time to be part of the Tinfoil Hat family. That's right. Join us every week on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/tinfoilhat. Or Sam Tripoli, excuse me. And please subscribe, man. What's going on is they're just constantly unsubscribing people to our page, and the only way they let go is when it's just an avalanche of people. So if you're listening on SoundCloud, just take a little time, go over to YouTube // whatever it is, Sam Tripoli, and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. If you're really deep into it, go to the patreon.com. We've had amazing discussions over the last couple. Some people enjoyed it. Some people did enjoy my one with the alien medium who says she can channel aliens. Okay? People are just saying I'm just interviewing because she's hot. Okay? That's probably true. Okay?
But we got a really good one coming out Wednesday.
We got a great one. Me and my good friend Matt Gallagher argue on the Trump presidency. He thinks Trump's the worst thing that ever happened to the world. And I would tell you that anybody in that office is a war criminal, and to sit there and act like the world went to shit in the last year and a half is laughable. Okay?
So FYI, I just want to say to that, I loved the fact that I can listen to SoundCloud and I listen to you guys talk with Abby Martin. So I like to drive around and listen to Tinfoil Hat in my car. You could do that.
Thank you, dude. When he's out in those safaris feeding the animals,
That's right.
He listens to those fucking truth bombs, homeboy.
That's right.
Guys, another thing you guys can do, support the show through our live shows. We are doing live shows, guys. And there is a bunch of people within the Hollywood industry who really love the idea. And believe it or not, even though we tend to demonize those people, the people we're working with are wonderful people, and they're working their hardest to get it going. The only way this happens, if you listen, dude, we just booked a gig in Alabama. That's where we're coming, dude. So we got a gig September 5th at the Comedy Store. All the industry's coming out. Eddie Bravo, Theo Vaughn, Off the Grid, and he's not here right now, but our good friend Ron will be there, and he's going to answer your questions and tell you why none of this is real.
And poop on your parade.
And poop on your parade. That is September 5th. September 14th and 15th, Canada. You guys got to show up. I'm bringing Eddie Bravo to you, okay?
Yep.
This shady fuck can't make it.
So all you White Walkers, come on, show up. I know you Frostbacks love us up there, so show
Yeah.
up.
Frostbacks. That's the name of
Rick
the
Ingram,
North.
baby. Rick
so
Ingram.
come get weird and come and grab your tickets. It's the Corner Comedy Club. No, it's thecornercomedy.com. Tickets are moving quickly, so grab them. We're going to sell it out. We're going to be everywhere in Canada. So if you're anywhere near Toronto, it's in Niagara Falls. Come, hang out, get weird, homeboy. And then I'm just going to push one more after October 12th. We are at the Punchline in Philly. And then the Funny Bone in Syracuse.
Hey-o.
Nice.
607-315. You all better come out. It's a Sunday night, early 7 o'clock show. Come get weird. I'm
No
bringing
excuses.
Eddie. No excuses. Upstate New York. We're bringing Eddie Bravo to upstate New York. So come get weird. It should be a good time. And that's it. T-shirts are back up. And we're good. God.
And as we all know, it's easy to get around to all these places, according to Eddie Bravo, because the Earth is flat.
Right,
so it
right.
makes traveling,
Right,
It's
for
easy
sure.
to get to these
I
locations.
think the Earth is a donut. It's a donut.
Well, Billy Corgan said the world was a vampire.
The
He may be
world
right.
is a vampire. Boom, 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 boom. So, dude, let's get into all the amazing stuff. A lot of people
Yes.
don't know that you love the animals.
Love 'em.
But you are political too. You're not afraid to
Yes.
get out there.
Yes.
You talk a lot of mad smack.
Oh, yes.
And you're active, dude. You are one of the few people who are in Hollywood that is not afraid to take political stances,
That's
call
right.
out people on darkness.
Yeah.
I feel very lucky that our friendship, I've kind of dragged you down into the dark arts of Hollywood, and that you've seen to be
It's
more and more
necessary.
into that.
Very necessary.
What?
The more we open our eyes to these sorts of things, or at least continue to have conversations, the better off everyone is.
You know,
And what we're starting to see now are corporate entities, namely social media platforms, determine for us what we should and shouldn't listen to.
Right.
And they're very afraid. 2018 is the year of the shook ones. That's
Talk
what
to
I
me
that's what I
about
like
that.
to say.
Talk to me about
So there
that.
were so many shook ones, including our president, who said a lot of things during his campaign and then totally flipped, and he's not doing any of the shit he said. Just so your viewers understand, my whole take is, I grew up Democratic, and then as time went along, I realized that both parties are complete shit.
I
And
love that, Randall.
you just come to see it, and mainly because as I started to really be vocal for wildlife rights in our environments, I just came to realize that neither party gives a shit, and they all
They
really
don't.
don't give a shit.
I realized
about
where
that.
we got connected.
Yeah.
Well, we did an award-winning movie.
Yes.
No, you weren't there. It
Well,
was,
that was with Chris.
Chris.
Yeah.
Was in this award-winning movie.
right.
Called Live Nude Girls.
With Andy Dick,
It was so great.
Sarah Patrick.
It was such a good time
Brie
to do it.
Olsen.
I thought that was going to launch the
Brie
career,
Olsen.
but great art gets shut down.
You were the
okay?
DJ at the strip club, right,
Yes.
Sam? Oh, there we go.
Well,
Yes.
Tara Patrick's a
He
wonderful
has sex
friend.
scenes.
Yeah, I do. I just pow. It's so funny. Dude, this is how great porn stars, how crazy they are. This girl does hardcore porn, right? Takes on black guys left and right? I love that that's hardcore porn, by the way. And
Yes.
so she just takes on these guys. And so we had we were doing a sex scene together.
Yeah.
We were just me humping. I go, can I take a picture of that? Can I take a picture of us just acting like we're doing it? She goes, I don't think my husband would appreciate that. I
Oh.
go, you do hardcore porn.
But the jizz in the eye was fine.
Yeah.
I guess a photo from my Instagram would just had a lot. How stupid am I? The coming on your ass was fine. I'm
Yeah.
sure your husband doesn't mind that, but I just want to take a picture because
So
God forbid.
they are an enigma, these girls.
Well, because a lot of them, and it's males too. Male porn actors, they reach this point in their careers where they're like, now I'm an actor, now I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
And I never did any of that stuff.
Yeah, oh, that's for sure. They become moms, and it's like, I didn't do that.
Yeah, I didn't do
and
this.
you're like, well, there's footage. We have evidence.
And it's like, good luck telling your children as they get older.
hey,
like,
dude,
they'll never
by the
get
time
online.
These kids these girls doing porn right now, their kids are growing up.
Yes.
It's going to be nothing.
And if they don't see it, their friends will.
Oh,
their
for
friends
sure.
are going to tell them, listen, I saw your mom sucking cock.
yeah.
Hey, can I sleep over tomorrow night?
It is my theory, if you are a young lady and there's not a nude picture of you on the internet, you suffer from some sort of mental illness, right? I mean, like they just, why do we judge? Like when they're like, oh, dude, nude pictures came out of her and she lost her job. Everybody's doing it. Why do we care? It's like picking your nose. Why do we laugh when people pick their nose?
They say. Remember when all those actresses' photos were leaked, their nudie photos?
Yeah.
They say that they were in on that. That these actresses knew that there was going to be a purge and a drop off of all these things, and they were supposed to pretend to be horrified, but they knew what they were doing.
It will never hurt an actress's career if she's seen doing something hot.
Correct.
But I heard that those pictures actually came from Weinstein's phone.
Right. And he was the one that was like, here, go ahead.
That's how, he lost his phone. Somebody found it. They hacked into it.
Yeah, I don't believe
just
that.
like,
that seems too easy.
Maybe this is how we're going to make environmentalism hot again. Is they're going to get like long lens photos of Trump cleaning up a beach somewhere on a Sunday, and they'll be like, "No way, he loves the environment. He's just like us."
Well, so that's my whole thing, fellas. It's like, Abraham Lincoln, he started the Department of Agriculture. Theodore Roosevelt acknowledged that we should have like parks and monuments should be federally supported, and we should protect them. And then there have been other, even Nixon was actually good towards wildlife, believe it or not.
Do you ever hear the really bizarre theory of what all those natural habitats that they say, what they really are, why the government protects those areas?
Collateral.
That they actually use them as collateral when they have to borrow money from government, like China. They're like, hey, here's the collateral that if you lend us this money, if we default.
So instead of like leaning a house, they're like leaning a park.
Here's
your Yosemite.
Here's these hundred thousands of acres.
Wow.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's disgusting. But I would believe it just because, again, so my whole thing is it's like, I just feel this administration more than any other really is putting everyone's life in harm's way. Yeah. They're just, by denying science, and Noam Chomsky has even said so much, like that's really the one most destructive thing that this administration is responsible for. It's this constant denial of science and loss of habitats, and it's a really crazy situation with poachers, and I know both of you love animals too, but with poachers.
When you get a dog, you become an animal person.
That's your baby. That's your baby.
When you get a cat, when you get a dog, fuck cats, but when you get a dog, okay? You start seeing personalities.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, this thing has a personality.
Yes.
It has a consciousness. And there's like animals. And listen, man, for me, hunting is like, if you eat the food, that's some primal. That's the cycle of life.
Precisely.
But we had a big talk about this on the episodes about to drop on the Patreon. Like, first of all, how do you feed so many people?
Right.
The way we treat pigs who are so fucking smart it's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
The fact that there's ag-gag laws that you can't find out how these animals are treated. So
correct.
That in itself means like, what are you guys trying to hide?
Right.
Show us then,
Correct. And also, the first thing this administration did when they came in the White House and they took power was they made it legal to, hunt wildlife in Alaska. That was really literally one of the first things they did.
Palin wants to pass a law that you can use like a fucking automatic gun to hunt animals from a helicopter.
Wolves specifically.
It's like, what are you doing?
It's insane.
Now I've asked guys that aren't gun nuts because I know a bunch. Which are
I do
good,
too,
and they're good people. You got to know them for when the grid goes down.
Absolutely, I know hunters.
I was like, "What do you need an AK-47 for?" Or what more commonly we talk about are AR-15s, and they call them prairie rifles because you're going to use them to take out prairie dogs.
Sure,
it's because you need to just Rambo out there. I get it. But maybe then you can only buy an AR-15 if you have a farm and you have 10 acres and you have prairie dogs.
Well, so if my whole thing regarding guns is keep them. I don't have a beef with gun owners. I do feel that assault rifles should only be kept by those who have served in the military. I feel like those citizens.
But then you get into the legal definition of an assault rifle is vague.
Sure.
For me, dude, it's just like It's like my whole theory.
A Colt 45 isn't like a
right. But for me, everything is every instance. If you're a hard thing on every if I'm a left person or I'm a right person on every issue,
right,
and you don't actually look at the issue, you just
look
go,
in the middle.
I'm a right guy, I'm a left guy. Every instance needs to be discussed, and it could come from a right point or a left point. It's not black and white; it's shades of gray.
Well, so recently I told Diana Loesch, is that her name? The head of the NRA.
Yeah.
I kept tweeting at her and I was like, listen, I really do believe the NRA should adopt blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is a transparent system that shows everyone the log and ledger of who owns what gun, where they got it, what state, how long they've had it, their mental status, everything. You'd be able to track everything.
I have no problem with that either.
And she blocked me.
Yeah.
She blocked me.
It's just like, dude, you listen,
people
man.
on Twitter are crazy. And then, I got to tell you guys, guess who recently took away 500,000 of my followers on Twitter?
Why, though?
In one day, they shadow banned 500,000. And a lot of them were alt-right folks, Muslims, just like sort of. And I'm friends with everyone, literally because exactly, but because I'm open-minded. Like I'm willing to listen to you folks you have to be open-minded these days.
For sure.
And you know what? If you ask me, the only trickle-down that's happening is the trickle-down of loss of compassion and love towards other people. The 1%, it comes from them because, as we know, when you get so much money, that thing shuts off where you can't recognize that someone's upset, you lose the empathy. And it's trickled down.
And you have to be somewhat of a psychopath.
Yes.
There's a reason why Ellen is known as a bitch, right?
Yes.
Steve Harvey's known as an asshole.
Yes.
Because to get to that level takes a certain bit of cutthroat, not give a fuck.
Yeah.
That a lot of us are not necessarily willing to do. We're like, that's not me.
But she's also a two-faced twat because she back in the day was like, oh, stupid George Bush. And then years later, he's dancing on her show. And she's like, ah, ha, ha, ha. It's like, what is happening?
It's just ridiculous.
But guys, wait, really quick. Because our John McCain, our illustrious man of power.
What a wonderful
He really served our country so well. I brought you guys Strike Force Air, this amazing military might of the 21st century. It's a DVD set, 5 DVDs, and I was hoping that Tinfoil Hat could split it up. You guys can share.
Fuck yeah.
This is for you guys.
This is in remembrance of John McCain, the war mongering guy who somehow suddenly became this wonderful human being.
The day after, first of all, I'm still reeling from Chris Cornell dying.
Yeah.
I'm still reeling from Anthony Bourdain and all these other people dying. The day after John McCain died, Neil Simon passed.
Yeah.
And I was like, Neil Simon did more for our society than John McCain.
They must have been like, Neil, hold on 2 more days, please.
Yes.
You know? It's like, who died on the day Michael Jackson died? And they were like, super famous, and it's like nothing. You're like, you picked the worst day to die.
You picked the worst day.
The family should have been like, dude, can we hold this off for like 24, 48 hours?
And then put them on ice.
You know, it's bad when you got to call your PR agent in to tell everybody about your fucking death day.
But isn't that amazing? The 3, so they all pass in 3s, right?
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin, John McCain, and Neil Simon.
Aretha Franklin, no will. How do you not have a will?
A lot of folks actually. Benny Hill didn't have a. Benny Hill was a millionaire, never bought a house.
Yeah.
And really? He's too busy chasing a topless girl around.
No.
I bet you when they found out that he didn't have a will, the whole family was just running around.
They all got pretty much.
Oh man, so many good little prepubescent boners.
That was the best show.
The best times.
If you played that right now, heads would collectively explode.
Absolutely. Oh, the Honeymooners. Just try playing the Honeymooners now for people who have no clue what any of this stuff is.
I watched Byron Bowers do a joke about, because only black guys can do a joke about the texture of vagina, right? And get any laugh. And like even then, I just heard women go, oh. Like we can't even talk about the simple things we all like kind of understand without.
As long as we have safe spaces for folks,
they should do that in a corner at the comedy store. Go
Yeah.
sit in there. Here's a baba and a fucking blankie, and you could fucking feel better about yourself. But we were getting to the John McCain.
John McCain, yes. So he I believe, is one of the key members of this elite group of power who
The cabal.
are trying to fulfill this Agenda 21, this agenda that we have to wipe out, to keep to keep the population down. We have to keep the population down. You know, there's. I just want to remind everyone that there's tape out there of John McCain basically apologizing for killing innocent people, some children, some folks just going to the grocery store. It's all recorded in 1969. It was an interview on Japan radio. And he basically admits that he's like a traitor. He's just like, listen, I did all this stuff, but I didn't mean to. I didn't want to. He spent 5 years as a POW to avoid being tortured and agreed to make 32 propaganda films for them.
And there's a lot of stuff about his, his thing that just like, it doesn't make sense. Like if you look at pictures of pictures of people who were in these camps and how they looked versus how John McCain looked. Oh. Now, full disclosure, if I was in a camp being tortured, who knows how long I could take the torture and what I would say. So,
and what you would do, absolutely.
There is something to that, but you know.
And by torture, you mean take away your cell phone so you can't?
They'd be like, no fucking Instagram for 2 days. I'm a traitor.
What is this?
You know. So we can get in that, but there's a lot of stuff about John McCain nobody talks about, like
a lot
the
of
fact
stuff.
that his father and his grandfather, very high up, was again like George Bush, a horrible student, still got in. There's this whole argument that he caused the death of 140 different like Navy men because he did something with his plane wrong.
The Wet Start.
And it just
the Wet Start, for which a lot of folks come to his defense and say, well, he really wasn't there. He was amongst the victims, but he wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't. How was he amongst the victims?
At all.
He died in fucking 80-something.
But the thing is, it's like once the Vietnamese found out who he was the product of, they said, you should go. You can go. And he chose to fucking stay. Like, he chose to stay.
Really?
Absolutely. You can, on YouTube, there are all these interviews with wonderful Vietnam veterans who just expose him for who he is, who were there with him and saw the great treatment that he received. They never did anything to him. They really didn't.
And it's unbelievable.
And he
how
was
that
like, no,
never
I'll
gets
stay.
told.
He's like, let me stay. And they say that he basically came into their power because he improperly, like, he broke his body, his arm in 3 places because he improperly ejected from his fucking plane. Like, he didn't even know how to fucking do that.
Well, he wasn't
and
a
he
good
was like,
student.
oh, help me. He wasn't. He actually wasn't.
And, and it just, so here's
But
the
it's
thing.
very telling when he was with Tapper, Jake Tapper, and he was like, how do you want to be remembered? And he was like, well, that I served, even though I made mistakes. I mean, when you start going down that road, it's just like, you did shit. And the fact that he was Saudi Arabian's baby, like the prize prince, he gave money to the support the destruction of Yemen, which is still happening.
Yeah,
it's
for
unbelievable.
sure, dude. Like, he has pushed this neocon agenda over. Like, I put out on Twitter. It's like, hey, man, my thoughts and prayers go out to the families of those who fucking were killed and destroyed by John McCain's neocon thirst for war.
Well, I love that you and Jimmy Dore and others are calling out these liberal leftists that suddenly are just like, oh,
Kathy Griffin telling
Trump
to take his name out of your mouth. What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you?
Like, dude, your moral compass just must spin because it has no clue with the right direction to go. When you dude, let's find Kathy Griffin when John McCain's running against Obama and the shit she must have said about him. And now this.
Well, that's the thing.
And then you're taking pictures with Trump in which you're like, hi. And he's like, because he's a billionaire and you probably want to get that because you fucked that woolly mammoth of a guy who invented fucking Microsoft or Apple, that giant fat fuck that was on Dancing with the Stars, lasted 1 week because it was so uncomfortable to watch. You took a swing for it and then he realized, it's just like, enjoy. Like, Kathy Griffin's on the internet, like doing like, she's like, photocop, like, look at, it's a selfie picture. It's like, what's wrong with your freaking life when you're a photocop? Like, Kathy, enjoy. You won.
Yeah, just you relax.
Let it go.
And that's the other thing. Like, stop apologizing. You
go.
The Samantha Bee, Kathy, all these people, they really nail it. That's what I love about De Niro. He said it, and
they're all pieces of shit, though,
They
dude.
really are, though. The problem is, it's like everyone's everyone wants to have skin in this game.
See what they do with
but we all forget
Samantha Bee, right? Is they make her say that shit, and then they purposely don't fire them so that there's this whole so the right goes nuts.
So
that's all it is. It's like we talked about it again on the Patreon last night. It's like Roseanne loses her job, but the Asian chick at the Wall Street Journal who blatantly says like about killing white people, done purposefully, she doesn't lose her job. That's all purpose.
I was really upset recently by James Gunn losing his job too.
We will disagree on that.
I know the whole thing. Rainn Wilson's stuff is more shocking to me.
They're all shocking because we're creating this world, Randall, where racism, sexism, homophobia is the worst. But yet pedophiles it's okay. It's like they're just jokes.
I'll concede. I'll give you that.
He has friends of his who are fucking convicted with kiddie porn. So you do think it's good
that he lost his job?
Listen, dude, I don't want to be the joke police. I don't want to be the joke police.
But and these are 10 years old. They are 10-year-old jokes.
Well, you know what, dude? That's a great point. So what do we do with these things, man?
Listen, if Henry Youngman were around, would we drag him and shame him for saying, I try to take my wife places, but she never wants to leave the kitchen or whatever the thing is. I try to take my wife to new places.
No, I'm totally with you. But, when you find that James Gunn went after my friend, my buddy who got in trouble for saying that white guys are white guy is the new N-word.
Josh Denny.
Yeah, Josh Denny. He called him out on that shit, and then he's fucking putting these tweets. It's
I'm sorry. So I beg your pardon.
But you're right. That's 10 years ago. But it's like,
okay,
everything's context. Yeah. And everything is
my whole thing is I was pretty upset when I saw Roseanne lost her job. And my whole thing is the same for me.
I don't want to be the joke police.
It doesn't
who's
take
more
away
defenseless than a fucking foster kid or an orphan?
Well, also what it is like these corporations are telling us we don't like their humor. We don't like what they've said. So you're no longer able to see their art. But it's okay to see Roman Polanski, who fucked a 14-year-old and gave her drugs. We can continue pushing his films.
And I'll tell you why this all happens, dude.
Because people love pedophilia.
And you can't spin pedophilia into a diversity showcase or a fucking... There's never going to be the pedophile hunters of comedy and a tour on that. But if you can construe something as racist, I can bitch about it on Instagram, get a bunch of retweets and 100 followers, and then, look, suddenly I'm on Saturday Night Live.
I'm with you.
That happens all the time. I don't want
We have to protect children.
I have a joke about how somebody said at the dog park that I saw a 10-year-old little Mexican girl. I'm like, how are you doing, you little cutie patootie? And she's like, you can't say that. People are going to think you're a sex offender. And you're like, I'm not a sex offender. If I was, I can do better than that. Okay? That's a joke. That's a joke. But I'm not saying I'm engaging in it. But, when you got someone like Patton Oswalt, who's who's the fucking moral police of everything, standing on fucking a soapbox telling everybody about respecting this and this, and then is he literally did a
our
joke.
Society loves that. Our society loves when people, especially celebrities, start speaking. They feel like, that's totally how I feel.
Yeah.
And so you get that. What I love to do is I actually really enjoy listening to Ben Shapiro. I actually enjoy listening to Crowder. But I
like to hear everybody.
That's my whole thing. But I'll also listen to Abby Martin. I'll also listen to Jimmy Dore. You guys, you have to be. But the thing is, it's like just when you think mainstream media is going to get there, they don't. They just keep letting everyone down because they're just all bought. So where do you go? You go to comedians. It's really nuts.
And now that reason they're going after stand-up is my personal opinion. Is that stand-up is something you could do. Mm-hmm. You don't need a giant production.
That's right.
It's like, let's take a look at Broadway, television shows, movies. You need huge influx of cash. To fucking put those on, and you can control the message by who gets the cash.
Exactly.
Stand-up, I don't even technically need a microphone. I could just start barking at people, and whoever sits around, they throw me some cash. Now I'm doing stand-up.
It's magic. You can't get it anywhere else.
That's right.
You literally, if I want to get a Sam Tripoli, I have to go to Sam Tripoli.
Yeah.
And so we used to laugh at our comedians and listen to our politicians. Now we laugh at our politicians and we listen to our comedians.
Absolutely.
And that's why they're trying to shut us down.
I've been laughing more at Trump these days than I think I'm at the same level as it's like Sam Kinison back in the day. And Sam Kinison cracks me up. But and listening to Chuck Schumer, they're kind of like, they are the new comedians. I mean, like,
but it's unintentional.
Unintentionally, like Nancy Pelosi to me is like Rita Rudner.
That's who we were talking
Rita
about
Rudner.
last night. Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Rita Rudner.
Yeah,
but you know Rita Rudner.
Yeah,
I love Rita Rudner. Like all these people from back in our day. Like, imagine if they were just told. I mean, imagine if we started telling like Richard Pryor, like what would we do? Take down a Facebook Richard Pryor page if he were around?
for sure.
There was George Carlin
Bruce.
or Lenny Bruce.
Well, we talked about it before, man. There was like a push. There's censorship of the left, and now there's censorship of the right.
Yeah.
And like the young kids on the left don't remember when they came after the left because
Exactly.
they're so free to talk about how much they love being gay or they're smoking weed. And,
Identity politics has completely corrupted everyone's vision.
Yeah.
It's really kind of sad. And I just, both sides are just very corrupt. And, that gets us back to John McCain, like really to toot his horn. And
yeah, and then talk about how great he was when he openly lied about weapons of mass destruction, was like the one pushing it. And then when the families of victims of 9/11 demanded a look into what happened, he's part of that whole corrupt fucking investigation.
Yeah.
Told families like people lost their lives for getting sick. There's nothing more I could do for you.
But then every now and then he's like, no, Gina Hartzell's terrible. Ooh, I'm against torture. He's able to pick and choose his battles.
Well,
so like it
have
appears
to.
like, oh, he's like, well, you have to.
Yeah,
It's a game, but it's all a game. And so social media, like all these things are just games.
And he met up with these guys who everybody thought were ISIS. They weren't ISIS,
that's
but now
right.
they're like the Syrian Freedom Army who's fighting everybody.
Everybody.
Like, but like when he showed up, like, peace was happening.
Yeah.
It was slowly because, let's face it, Assad was winning the war. He still is winning the
Still
war.
is.
And all of a sudden, John McCain showed up. And now all of a sudden, ISIS attack. ISIS attack. ISIS attack. I mean, dude, John McCain is part of that whole fucking group of people.
It's true.
Who, like, look who ISIS attacks, everybody.
Yeah.
Doesn't attack one of our allies.
Well,
They're not one.
Let's remember the famous John McCain remix of the famous Beach Boys song when he went bomb, 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 Iran. How funny is that shit?
Yeah.
I mean, like, and there's video of him singing bomb, 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 Iran.
Yeah.
He also he makes a lot of money helping out these things.
Yeah.
And
now, and he's the guy who basically gave the dozer or dossier. What are we calling it? Dozer? Is it dozer or dossier?
I think that's
Dossier.
Dossier? Yeah. Gave it
Dossier.
to BuzzFeed.
Give it to BuzzFeed.
To release when nobody else would touch it. Mm-hmm. None of the news. Everyone's like.
But what's so despicable now is just I feel like if you do tell the truth, they just like people bombard you. Like really, to make tweets like that. That's why it's like ballsy when you're like, hey, Kathy Griffin, like what? Yeah. People see that and like, ooh. Or when you see tweets from Lee Camp being like, yeah, let's acknowledge Lockheed Martin's send off of John McCain. And it's like, guys, like, and then people get upset, like, oh, stop. Like, let's just not focus on him being so evil right now. Like, the guy's
My
dead.
girlfriend said that to me. She goes, Sam, there's things where we don't talk ill of the dead. I go, Dana.
Don't talk ill of the dead.
I'm in a world where I have no say where my tax dollars go.
Thank you.
I am funding a military industrial complex that is literally destroying the rest of the world, killing killing brown people left and right. The only thing I can control in my life that allows me not to go crazy is my narrative of what John McCain really is. Yeah. And that is a warmonger that fucking sold out mankind for dollars. Yeah. That's the only thing I can control.
No, it's true. And also in 2008 when he was running, and he was his administration, his campaign rather, also hopped on the birther shit.
Yeah.
They called Obama a traitor.
Oh, and who started the birther shit? Oh, Hillary Clinton. And yet, now it's a right-wing fucking conspiracy.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, the lady who confirmed that birth certificate, there's a video of her being killed in the water. You can watch it.
What?
She gets pulled under the water. You could watch it.
Oh my God, she gets pulled under.
Yeah, the plane crashes.
Like Camp Crystal
everybody's
Lake?
in the fucking
what is
water.
This?
And you
Was
just see her get pulled under. She's the one who confirmed
his birth certificate.
Yep.
When you just mentioned that thing about you and Dana having that conversation, I realized that Dana has been listening to Tinfoil Hat every single day.
Well, I have learned.
That's we need. I got to get her some.
I mean,
she knows more than anyone. Like you have MK Ultra her. One day when she finally Manchurian candidates, she's gonna run for local congresswoman and Shane.
Swordfish.
There you go, dude.
Well, it's like I talked about this whole thing that happened just in Jacksonville with her.
Yeah.
She goes,
yeah.
So did you hear what happened in Jacksonville? Yep. She goes, okay, what happened?
Yeah.
Right? I go, Dana, there was a drill going on. She goes, yeah, there was, yeah, for sure. And it's like, I go, Dana, alone that means nothing. Let me show you each fucking drill going on at all these. That is a pattern.
Well, what's happening nowadays, I feel, these false flags are set up to leeway for people to get killed. Like, we'll do this over here, we'll do this training and stuff, and you won't pay attention to us actually, because that's really screwed up. Like these young guys.
And it's also covering a lot of other shit going on.
Well, this is, as I was telling you, like I really do feel, guys, now more than ever, they're going to do these false flags.
Yes.
It just happened with Syria.
Yeah.
There weren't chemicals there.
Yes.
They just want to bombard everyone.
Yes.
They just want to kill more lives.
Randall woke as fuck.
I'm telling you.
Think about what this one was. This was video games.
Thanks to you guys too, by the way.
Where can you hit American pop culture more than video games? I mean, you're getting guys.
That's it.
Now it's not safe to go out to play video games. Oh, I better stay home.
That's what these guys were saying.
Dude. It's losing its
It's
power.
so sad. It's losing its power.
Look, this thing hits and it doesn't.
It's just going on a fucking loop. It's like, then it's like you see David Hogg comes out. See, I told you about these guns. NRA says, but you're not going to take them. And then another fucking
But
thing
then you
happens.
find out David Hogg's dad is FBI and sold a fucking giant intelligence agency that produced zero shit.
That's the only reason why he's poster child out of all of them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
I happen to like the skinhead girl. I thought she was great, but she's not at the forefront because he's the face of it.
Yeah, he's the face.
He's the
he
face
applies to colleges. They won't even take him because they know he's fucking bad news, dude.
And speaking of faces of things, I would love to discuss for a hot second this.
Sure.
Are we? What's her name? Isaiah Argenta. This.
Asia.
She's the face of the face of Me Too.
Yeah.
And she did it, man. There are photos to prove it. She had statutory raped this man.
Over
child, 17 years old, at a time when your mind isn't It's the reason why teachers do jail time for having sex with their students who are 17 years old.
It's the Beatles song. Well, she was just 17. You know what I mean? You cannot write that song today.
Oh, yeah. Yes. She's only 17. Oh, yeah. Winger. 17.
Actually, it was younger. She was just... Oh, no, it was 17. Mm-hmm. She was just 17. You know what I mean? And the way she looked was way beyond compare.
Yeah.
Well, there are so many of those creepy songs. She's 60. She's my little girl. She's 16 and she's fine.
Well, Elvis has a song called Little Sister.
Little Sister.
Dude, there's some places that's 16, but listen, the point of that is
my balls are on fire.
She stalked him since he was a kid. The Instagrams, they've pulled every one of the pictures of her, like since he was like 12, 13, like just a tiny kid.
To me, what's really disgusting and perverse about the whole matter is she played his mom in a movie when he was 7 years old at the time.
See?
And then 10 years later, she's banging him.
Yeah. And she just, and then we talked about in the last episode where it's like she put out a video of her just shooting these young preteen girls' butts, going, I see you, baby, shaking that ass. And it's like, they're all and it's like, she comes from darkness, though.
She absolutely does.
MK Ultra.
Well, her pop is a famous horror director, and a great horror director, I might add. But he put her in the films when she was a child, and that's definitely got to warp your mind.
For sure.
So I feel it's like she's doing. It's really tough. A lot of victims. It's like I don't know how else to put it, but it's like you rape the rapists, or you become that. Yeah. Like you. Right, exactly.
Not every person who's molested becomes a child molester, but a large part of the child molester.
Yeah, you do unto others what was done unto you. I mean, that's why so many serial killers, they were abused and sexually molested and things like this. And
it's kind of perfect that we have you on because, I mean, in Mother Nature and the animal kingdom, there is no consent. Everyone dies by the teeth. Into the mouth of Kali, all things must go. But that's what separates us from humans. So we got to
from
rise
animals,
up.
humans
that's
from animals.
Absolutely it. And as our society and other societies continue dumbing down, I feel it's leading. We're getting so primitive. You know, it's just like, share. Like we're just getting so primitive and dumbed down.
Yeah, for sure.
And now more than ever, that's why I'm saying, like, now more than ever, you could do these false flags. Now more than ever, you can secretly call someone's agent and say, how old is she? Oh, can send her over to my hotel. You can do shit like that.
And
no one gives a shit.
Parents who co-sign on that.
Of course.
Because they want the gold,
get the money.
the
They
ring
want the
so
money.
badly that they're not afraid to send their 14, 15 years, even younger into the... Dude.
Come on, we still don't know who killed Jean-Benet Ramsey. Really? You know what I'm saying?
And what about the whole Mickey Mouse Club, man? Allegedly. It's just like, dude, all those kids are like... They're all like train wreck and like because they all got into drugs, they all got nuts.
That's right.
And they're like, God bless Miley Cyrus. Like we watch her go through the crazy thing. Now she seems to have stabled herself.
She seems pretty stable.
But like she was all into that crazy shit. Nickelodeon allegedly. All that guy Dan Schneider, scumbag allegedly. We gotta say all that shit. But why Jamie Spears just suddenly quit the show and she's like, I'm pregnant. Do we find out whoever the dad was? Big thoughts it was him, allegedly.
Well, that is my whole thing. Going back to all this, it's like with all these other issues, with identity politics, with racism and bigotry, and you shouldn't say this, and what's Alex Jones doing? It's easy to forget that that children's lives and wildlife lives are just being molested and taken from us.
Yes. And that's why, going back to when we had discussion on guns, why I go so hard on that is in this world in which we've created, we can't have any bigotry or fucking bullying or like what's more bullying than hurting children? And it's like
absolutely.
Like
I was shocked this morning. I read a story about some poor fourth grader who took his own life because over the weekend he had confessed to his mom that he thought he was gay. And he was worried about that. And she said, whatever. You know, when you're a child, you don't know what the fuck's going on. So he was like, I might be gay. And so he's like, I want to tell my friends at school. And so she was like, yeah, go for it. And they bullied the shit out of him. And he took his own life.
I wouldn't have said, I would say just keep it
to yourself.
You be yourself.
You be yourself.
You are
I know. You told your mom.
These kids are idiots. You just got to be.
Because it's passed down. And that's what's really frightening is you have a whole generation of kids whose parents are growing up watching InfoWars, who are, finding their resources. Like everyone, you have to remember a lot of these people who didn't vote, and there are 106 million people who didn't vote.
Yeah,
106 million people.
A lot of women didn't vote.
A lot of women didn't vote. So it's like if you can't complain about shit unless you participate. I still believe, like, as much as it may be rigged, who knows? But like, if it means something to you, you can't not vote and be like, I'm protesting.
Right.
And then a month later be like, oh my God, did you see what Trump did? Fuck you. Like, even if you vote, see, I'm so not about voter shaming, which I feel is like another thing our society got very used to. It's like, if you vote, at least you voted. I don't care if you voted Gary Johnson.
I don't care if somebody voted for Trump because
I don't
the
care.
notion that
that's my whole thing
this
too.
world would be a better place with Hillary in is just bullshit identity of politics.
Let's realize right now that if she were in office, she would still be promoting the genocide in Yemen.
Yeah.
She would still be in bed with Saudi Arabia.
She would be fracking everywhere.
She'd be fracking everywhere. She would be bombing the shit out of Syria as well. The only difference was she wouldn't have a fucking conference, a stupid summit, which didn't mean anything anyway with Kim Jong-un. And
now it's finding out that he's not playing ball.
And he's not playing ball. That's my whole
thing. I'd rather have the hope of
that's...
Listen, dude, Trump is not a good guy. You know that. I know that.
Right.
There are people that want to believe. Like, you got to really take a look at that rarefied airspace. But like we said, there's a broken clock's right twice a day.
Absolutely.
And there are things that he is working. And we hate his take on the environment. And I know we're going to have people.
It's absolutely terrible.
No.
Blah,
blah,
listen,
bullshit.
Monsanto recently rewarded that poor guy who has cancer $289 million because they know that with these fucking pesticides, bees are endangered, guys.
Yep.
Bees are endangered. The Asian elephant, they're almost out. They're almost extinct.
Yeah,
the Asian
globally,
elephant.
frogs and bees are dying all across the world. And what frogs and bees are they are like basically the barometer and the temperature gauges of what's happening. If it takes just a small amount for them to die, what bees are pollinators. And if you want to know where we get our food, we get them from pollinators. So where are we moving towards? Everything being made by robots, Monsanto moving in, so it only makes it better for them.
Albert Einstein warned us about this. I don't know what the exact quote is.
Once the bees go, we all go.
Exact. There you go.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Killer Bees.
Yeah.
On the swarm.
It's just the truth, dude.
That's why it's Wu-Tang forever. Killer bees forever.
Well, did you see
we need them.
that these kids in, I think, of course, Florida or something like that, went in and they just basically destroyed all these beehive, these people who had bee, what are they called?
Beekeepers.
Beekeepers destroyed all their shit. They're in jail, and it should be, dude. It's
absolutely,
like,
it's a fucking federal offense.
Listen, man. Listen, you can say whatever you want. I remember having a discussion. I'm not going to say the name of the comic because it just is literally like shoving my head in a wasp nest.
Sure.
But they're like, dude, there's not an overpopulation problem. They're not. I've talked to friends of mine who are like, oh, you could take all the people in the world and fit them into Alaska, and that means that, or and it's just like, dude. No. There's too many. I'm like,
no, there are too many.
You
signs.
could sit in Montana and go, there's not a population problem. Fly to India.
Yeah, thank you.
Fly to China.
Thank you.
Go sit on the 405, man. It's just like, I get that we're not everywhere, but it's like we all consume a lot of shit.
A lot of shit, and we're fucking up our oceans. But listen, the writing is on the wall ever since Flint was like, they don't have clean water. Like, that should be you would think that would have been the fucking
Al Gore did a lot of damage. His fucking daughter marries a Rothschild. A lot of people think the Rothschilds are behind the whole environment shit. But I have seen.
It's not just them. It's just, listen, it's big corporations seizing the opportunity to fuck our natural resources. There's money to be had in taking away habitat from wildlife. Listen, remember that big, I believe it was Exxon oil spill in the Amazon? They still haven't cleaned that shit up. And there are still so many people that are dying and having all these things. So, I mean, for me, if you ask me, it really is Agenda 21 happening. Like, it's all there. Yeah. The writing is on the wall. When you pull out of the Paris Accord and you're like, no, we don't want to be told how much. We want more coal and we want more emissions.
Yeah.
We want
more people are dying from lung cancer.
And Obama was no saint either. That's the fucking thing.
Not.
I'm so sick of everyone just being like, yeah, but Obama, don't you miss Obama? That motherfucker said, yes. Fucking kill those Native Americans standing up for their land, go in there and frack.
Yeah. And let's not forget that
he said drones. He would kill people with drones.
Yeah,
what a pussy.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. These guys are such fucking pussies, right?
Yeah.
It's easy for you to be wherever the fuck you are and just be like, yeah, bomb them, right? You're a fucking pussy.
Games.
Obama's like, just send in and then their whole thing is like, well, strategically and such. It's not. Strategically.
Strategic.
None of us can say that.
Technically.
Not here.
Strategic. Technically, when you send in a drone bomb, the operators say, "Well, I didn't really kill anyone. It was the drone."
Yeah.
See, that's what's so amazing about our technology.
And they're off by 90%.
Yes.
Their drones are off by 90%. And then in the last episode we brought up, Russians killed like 11 people using a robot. I mean, it's like, what the fuck?
It's,
Oh, man. After these recording days, I just want to go find my nephew and just hug him. And
what, dude?
Yeah, man.
I get that.
I get that. I get that, too.
But you know what? It's like what again, with the argument
hug
with
your
Dana,
children. Hug your pets.
It's like you can control you and how you treat the world.
That's it.
And treat other people.
Show
empathy.
Yes.
You see somebody on the street, you got a couple bucks, throw them a couple dollars.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. They talk a lot of these kids on the streets here.
Yeah.
They're all these fucking pedogate kids who've been used and abused.
Absolutely.
And then just kicked out. And they're fractured. And they don't have the ability to fucking make. So it's like, dude, what's $2 to me?
FYI, after this whole Molly Tibbetts horrible thing, right? That girl killed by the immigrant, and everyone focuses on the fact it was an immigrant. Well, just recently it happened again where a woman actually in Alabama, you guys are going to Alabama, right?
Yeah.
They, a girl also attempted to be kidnapped off a bus by, they're saying a non-resident.
Illegal.
But it's not so much the illegal, it's what they're going to do with these children. Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That they're looking at the wrong shit. It's not so much the immigrant. It's the fact, like, what are you going to do? Like, this is a like a sex trade slave. Like, you're trying to.
And they're waiting for the media to get behind it. Dude.
It's unbelievable.
ICE is ran by a company named DynCorp.
They're molesting kids, by the way.
How bad is DynCorp?
500 kids. Oh, no, they're terrible.
He knows a lot about
Tell me.
There's certain
they
times when
privatized
Sam's like tells me things, I'm like,
Yeah.
I never want to say this on the mic. Yeah, no, DynCorp is attached to so many nefarious things.
Yeah.
they were involved in. Basically, we would use them as negotiating. They're like our middle guy in between dealing with warlords in Afghanistan. Well, when you in Afghanistan, you have everything, but what you need are 50-gallon drums of Viagra. And so DynCorp would then also be the security firm that would take boy prostitutes and these 50-gallon drums of Viagra to warlords so that we can secure forward operating bases and make our way through what Caesar called the unconquerable land, which no one can conquer. And the only reason we're there is because we're taking out stuff that's underneath it.
Still there.
Yeah.
And Iraq. Still there, guys.
The moment we invaded Afghanistan officially or whatever, we turned on the mining operations. You know, we never went into Rwanda because Rwanda doesn't sit on top of anything that we need.
Right.
So 100,000 people got machete attacks in the night.
Yeah.
And we just turned a blind eye.
Yeah.
So
we're all about the blind eyes.
It's so I always try to find a spin on it. Like, are we really on the Death Star looking at every planet and we're like, hey, I thought Ewoks lived down there. They're like, they're called Mexicans.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, carry on. You know, like, but aren't we all on the same planet? It's like, nah.
Well, right. And that's my whole thing. Is like, it's globally. There must be some sort of number, I believe, that drops into this Agenda 21 because it's.
What is on those stones?
You're talking about the Georgia Guidestones?
The Georgia Stones.
Yes.
Yeah, the Georgia Guidestones are pretty creepy.
And we still don't know really. Well, we know who funded them, right?
Whoa, what's happening here?
Do we know who funded them?
Hey, who's playing?
Let me tell you something, dude.
That's our hard out.
I just saw you the other night.
No,
do we have to leave?
Do you like that? That was pretty beautiful.
That was beautiful.
That means
I just want to.
That means we got 10.
Really,
Continue.
it's
we
like
got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I gotta say, like, it's okay. So within this 10 minutes, I want to tell you something. QAnon is.
I love it, dude.
Let me tell you, QAnon is Dan Scavino Jr.
You're saying QAnon is a single person?
I believe what happened is
Who is Dan Scavino Jr.?
So Dan Scavino Jr. is Trump's social media person.
Okay.
He worked for him as a caddy back in the day. Trump was always very sweet to him, would give him $200 every time. See you later, Danny. And then as they got older, he says, Danny, you want to take over the golf club and manage it? He says, yes, of course. Started befriending the sons. Hey, Junior, how's it going? Great. Where's Eric? Oh, he said, let's party. Like, good times. And then when he was like, hey, I'm thinking of running for the White House, Dan Scavino was like, guys, like Eric, Don Jr., don't forget to tell Trump about me. Like, I want in on this. Tell your father. And so he was like, of course he with me. So then during the whole campaign, whenever you would see Instagram, Facebook, Twitter videos, off stage, Trump giving it, that was Dan Scavino. He records everything. He does in fact, he does a lot of his tweeting. That's something a lot of folks don't know, but it was proven in New York Times Magazine. We did this great article on him. I love this guy. To me, I feel he started it and just sort of passed the torch.
Now,
I don't think, I gotta say,
do you think it's real?
I gotta say, the case for it being John F. Kennedy Jr. is interesting in that it would make sense because Trump attacked Ted Cruz for his father being in on the killing of JFK. Also, it's a little weird that Trump still hasn't released all of the JFK report, right? Isn't that right? Like he released
nice.
He released a lot, but not the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, is it John? But then that's a lot. I mean, to fake your own death, and he was in the plane with 2 women.
2 women?
Yeah, did he like drown them and then just like swim to shore?
Well, there's all these pictures of people at
and then
Trump
his death
rallies
site looks like a queue.
Yeah.
I think it's Dan Scavino, and I think that he's passed the torch along to others because he does have security clearance, as far as I know.
I think it's possible. If you're asking
and he
me
knows
who
a lot
I
of
think
shit.
it is,
This
I
person
think
knows a
it's
lot of
somebody at the NSA. Because they have pictures and shit that I think
they know a lot of shit.
Can get.
Yeah.
Because they get, dude, everything I watch on this, any weird porn, the NSA knows what weird porn.
Oh, they know everything, and so does Google. Hello, like Google owns that company that we send it. Yeah, well, they're Alphabet, but also they own that company where everyone sends in their saliva and they find out.
23andMe.
Thank you. Google owns that. So that means they own your shit. Like they own your saliva samples.
My idea is that Q stands for quantum, and it's a quantum AI computing system that has been turned on to solve the problem.
I love that theory. I love that theory.
So the Q
is AI.
Yeah, that Q is quantum, and they turned it on. They said solve the problem, and now it's solving it.
Q is AI. Now listen, there are a lot. It's so fringe, but my whole thing is like it's nice.
You think that is it?
I love that.
Why is he only?
I still think it's Dan Scavino, though.
Okay.
Maybe Dan Scavino started it and then passed it off to an AI interface. That would make a lot of sense because he's smart and he knows a lot about social media.
AI has to have access to the NSA shit. Because he's getting so much.
Maybe Jeff Bezos provided them the same technology that's used for all those Alexa and all that. Jeff Bezos is a piece of shit. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
What a
dude,
fucking
I don't know
asshole.
why we stick.
Why do we
put
still
up with this
put up
shit?
with that shit? And Zuckerberg, like, why do we put up with this shit?
80% of everything bought online goes through Amazon.
More people have Amazon Prime than a landline.
Our new co-host is going to be Alexa. We're going to have Alexa.
Hello, Sam and Ryan. How are you today?
Alexa, what episode are we doing on Tinfoil?
How is Alexa not using the Honey Badger voice? They need to.
No shit.
Yeah, why you got to get a hold of?
I got to get on that shit.
You got hit up Waze. Why can't I do Honey Badger stuff?
I'm telling you, make a left here, stupid.
You have a manager?
Make a right here, stupid.
You got a manager.
I'm like Bill Murray. I just do fly solo.
You got to get a manager.
If you want to work with me, fax me.
Yeah, for those that aren't watching on the YouTube, we are rocking some Honey Badger merch. Where can they find all of it?
So go to Randall's, Randall with 2 L's, randallshoneybadger.com. That's randallshoneybadger.com.
This has been a great conversation. Now, I know you didn't want to get into legal stuff. Do you still
I don't
want to talk about?
I don't want to talk about the legal stuff. I just want to continue talking about the stuff that makes me fall into a rabbit hole whenever I watch you guys.
Yeah.
And thank you guys so much for having me on. I love what you guys are doing. I'm serious. I love the hosts, the guests that you have on. I love how you two host. I love that you guys are open. What I love most about Tinfoil Hat, folks, is you guys are just here to discuss. You're not pushing anything.
Yeah.
And that's something that's pretty unique in this day and age, because I feel like there's something behind everything.
We want to be like in the same vein as Art Bell, who just interviewed all these incredibly crazy people and was like, okay, that sounds interesting. Tell me more.
Yeah.
Like the Patreon podcast where the alien medium, halfway through, I'm like, okay.
Was it the same one that was on Tucker Carlson?
No, this is a different one. And I could like challenge people. I could sit here and challenge you on everything you say.
Sure.
But that isn't the show, and that's not fun.
Right.
Like conspiracy theorists are fucking like street dogs. Like we get beaten down all the time. We want somebody to pet us and just hear us. And like, if you like what's being said here, do your own research.
Yeah.
Don't try to find stuff that basically says, no, that's not real. Look to be like, is this possible? Can I find it? And don't think that only NBC and ABC and Fox News are the only ones who put out pertinent information.
That's right.
There are people who work so hard.
I love The Intercept.
On YouTube. The Intercept, on
I love
YouTube,
PBS.
They work so hard. Like
these guys work hard.
Our friend, the Truth Cat, she works so hard. Her research is great. There's a bunch of
David.
Gracie is her name. Great.
I love the Corbett Report. Corbett Report.
That guy works
He's great.
really hard too.
He's great.
He goes off on a lot of shit. But it's like
Blackstone Intelligence.
I
also wanted to say. Rebecca don't care. Rebecca's such a honey badger. Mike's wife.
Mike's
wife is such a honey badger. She don't give a shit.
She don't give a shit.
She keeps smacking his balls and making pancakes.
Yeah.
Guys, also, I want to tell you before we make some pancakes and hustle out of here. Hello?
Yeah.
Am I on? Okay.
Yeah.
9/11 was the biggest false flag inside job since Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of the dumbing down of our society.
Yes.
It was an opportunity for all those in power to gain more power, to make more money, to privatize everything, to give them the right to spy on us. And nothing has changed since those towers came down. Think about it. This NSA was supposed to be a limited time thing. We're going to spy on you, get the terrorists, and they continue to do it.
For the children, we teach the children. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Tinfoil hat.